Hello there guys, you're listening to Ebird Online and I'm back with another review. So today we're going to talk about Mike and Natalie, and you know the Ebird finds this relationship about as interesting as the ongoing debate on climate change. However, as we know, this relationship crashes and burns, and TLC have given us a little season-long teaser. And I guess it's up to us to fill in the blanks and try and work out how, why and when. And guess what? I've got more theories. And I also had to bring you the latest from Mike and Natalie. This crappy couple have made Uncle Beau homeless and my blood is boiling. But your favourite little bird has got some really interesting theories as to why this relationship has broken down. And so stick with me till the end of the video and together we can pick over the carcass of what was Mike and Natalie's relationship. As always, if you haven't done so, please think about subscribing to my channel. It's a great time over here. We discuss life, love and everything in between. What are you waiting for? And also please don't forget to hit the like button, it does make a difference to my YouTube analytics. So this is 90 Day Fiancé Season 8 Episode 2, Shame on You. And I give you Natalie and Mike. So just before we begin, I'd just like to address something which keeps on coming up in comments. For some bizarre reason, guys keep coming into my comments and saying, "You're so jealous of Natalie's beauty and that's why you don't like her." Okay, well my response is as thus. I'm not at all sold on Natalie's beauty, I'm really not. And I think she's absolutely fine, don't get me wrong. But beauty, not sold. And the other thing people say is, you should just give her the benefit of the doubt. I would do, I give people the benefit of the doubt. But here, there isn't any real sense of doubt in my mind. I think Natalie's a wrong-un. And I've got an uber long list of things which Natalie has done wrong, which I seem to add to it week by week. Every time I see Natalie, she's doing some more bullcrap. Whether it be casually making somebody homeless or proclaiming that somebody's evil, Natalie's badness knows no bounds. So for those that have forgotten all that Natalie has done previously, I'm going to link a video here. And it's a video I made last year sometime. And it's the 15 times that Natalie has manipulated Mike. And that should hopefully give a little bit of backstory to anyone that says, "I don't know why you don't like Natalie." There's 15 extremely good reasons here. And that's just that on that. I do like that saying, that's just that on that. And I would brand you a simp, but trying to gaslight you would be, I guess, completely petty. Yep, you guessed it, the Ebird's as petty as all hell. You're a simp. So without further ado, I give you Natalie and Mike. So as we all know, last week, Natalie finally got her visa and she's winging her way to the US as we speak. And so this is the first thing I wanted to bring up. Natalie told Mike she has 20 days after production of her visa to get to the United States. And I did think to myself, 20 days, wow, that's quite short, because some couples wait in excess of 2 years. And so to actually just pack up, say goodbye to all friends and family, give notice for your job, finish your job, book flights and start a brand new life, 20 days isn't that long. And I thought, very interesting. And so I went, as I have done so many times before, to my good friend Google to find out the SP. And guess what I discovered? Once the K1 visa is approved, the sponsored fiancé is given a total of 6 months from the date of approval of the initial form to travel to the United States. So I find this very interesting indeed. I always thought that Natalie wasn't necessarily telling the truth. And I've also noticed from other couples on this franchise, there hasn't been a particular rush. I do understand that sometimes they're eager to get together and they're eager to start their journey. But I thought, wow, 20 days, that's nothing. 30 days is your notice at work. And guys, note that it was 20 days, not 21, not 3 weeks, but 20. Right, Natalie. So when we first see Mike this week, he's busy undertaking the eviction of Uncle Beau. And so Mike's standing with Beau in his bedroom and Beau's packing everything up. And it looks like quite an uneasy atmosphere. And Mike says, it's not the easiest thing. I'm kind of stuck in the middle. You're not really, because you own the house. Therefore, it's your right to make all decisions. If what you mean is that you've positioned yourself in the middle, that's a different thing. But you are not actually stuck in the middle, Mike. And poor Uncle Beau looks crestfallen. But Mike's standing over him saying, it's only temporary. No, it's not, Mike. Natalie doesn't want Uncle Beau around, and it will be a cold day in hell before she lets Uncle Beau back into the house. But Beau, for his part, I think, took everything very, very well. He said, I hope you'll be happy together. Hopefully it's for the best. And then Beau said to production, I hope Natalie doesn't hurt him. I've been with a lot of women myself, and I know they're very unpredictable. and the Ebird can imagine that the type of woman that would go out with Beau would be rather unpredictable, to say the least. And Mike goes on to tell us that Beau's not going to be homeless. He's found him a room in a house of some other family member. Well, why didn't you say? That's okay then, Mike. Being told to get out with 1 day's notice and then having to fit in somebody else's home, yeah, that's no problem at all. I'm particularly unhappy that Mike's throwing him out with such short notice on the say-so of a stroppy effing teenager. And guys, if any of you know an osteopath or a chiropractor, please put it down in comments below. I'm virtually certain that Mike's got a backbone somewhere, and god damn it, I'll find it. And next time we see Mike, he's picking up Natalie from the airport. And as he drives along the motorway, he speaks to his mum on the phone. And she said, you know, you've had a lot of problems, but I hope everything's okay. And she said, God willing, you'll be able to figure out all the problems. And Mike said, amen. I thought it would be more like, I, alien, not amen, but hey ho. And when Mike arrives at the airport, he goes and gets some flowers and he waits nervously. Finally, Natalie arrives. And Mike gives her a big bear hug and she does look actually quite happy to see him. And he presents her with these flowers. And typical Natalie, she took them and said, why are my flowers purple? Oh Natalie, God made them that way. And I just can't believe she's so ungrateful at every single juncture, every gesture Mike does for her. She's just ungrateful. The Ebird loves lilies and gladioli. If somebody gives me chrysanthemums or, I don't know, hydrangeas or something, I don't turn my nose up. I say, oh, thank you so much. And I arrange them to the best of my ability and I put them in a lovely vase. That is what you do when somebody buys you flowers. Honestly, Natalie needs to be sent on a training seminar on how to behave like a human being. Just a beginner's guide, but she definitely needs some sort of formal training. And just when you think it can get no worse, it does. Natalie says to production, finally, I'm here. Well, I decided to give it a try. And the look on Mike's face was absolutely unbelievable. It was part shocked, part disbelief. You decided to give it a try. It was all in your hands. Oh Lord, Natalie really is something else. And honestly, I think with this relationship, there's always an awful lot for Mike to ignore. Mike, can you live your life like this? I don't know if you can. But next time we see this couple, Mike tells us he's booked a super swanky hotel for the night, which cost him $500. And as they're driving along in the car, he told Natalie, but she had far more important matters on her mind. No, the colour I don't like. I don't like purple. My flowers, I don't like. Oh, good Lord, back to the freaking flowers. And Mike tried to carefully explain to her, it's the thought that counts. And Natalie pursed her lips. Why purple? Why is these flowers purple? Oh, Natalie, God made the flowers purple for precisely the same reason that you had Restylane filler put into your lips and that you dyed your hair blonde. God wants the flower to be nice and brightly coloured, so it will attract bees and insects, and this aids the fertilisation process. God created blonde hair dye and filler because he wanted you to procreate. That's why the flowers are purple. I don't want to hear any more about it. Thank you. But then something happened which I think is quite significant and very interesting. As they're walking into the hotel, Mike explains to production he's paid off most of his $30,000 debt. So the Ebird got out her abacus. He was in about 15 episodes of 90 Day Fiancé. So I guess if he was really frugal, he could have paid off all $15,000 that he earned from the show. And I'm not quite sure if it's $1,000 or if it's $1,500 you get per episode. But let's go for the lower end of that and we'll say it's $1,000. And then if he paid off another, say, $5,000 of his own money, he would have paid off $20,000 with ease. So I predict at the end of this season, it's very possible he'll be debt-free. So hold this fact in your mind, because I believe that this could very well hold the key to Mike's motivations. And so they arrive at the hotel, and it was a very nice room, but Natalie absolutely loved it. She was very appreciative for once. And so it had an amazing view of, I'm guessing, over Seattle Harbour. The room was, well, it was okay. The room was quite noughties, so it's kind of, I don't know, it's a bit all over the place. It had like a Barcelona chair. It's industrial in some ways, industrial ceiling, lots of sheet steel, but then it had things like classic shaker doors, and it was classic and modernity all mixed into one. But anyway, there was noughties vibes there, but it had a beautiful view, and it was extremely spacious. In fact, it was very big. And so they sat down and popped a bottle of champagne, and Natalie said, "I want to make a toast to the sweetest, most honest man I know." And she said, "It feels like we waited so long for this." And at this point I kind of thought, so long for what? So long for you to just get to America? Was that your end game? I'm not sure. And Mike said, "I'm very proud of us, and I'm very proud of how far we've come. We're still pushing." Don't push too hard, Mike. I hear it's really difficult without a backbone. And that's where we leave the couple for this week. So what does the Ebird make from this? Well, buckle up because there's quite a bit. So on the side of Natalie, as per usual, I think that she's a little brat. She turned up at the airport and turned her nose straight up at the purple flowers. And she was so super excited to be in the US, but I think she was less excited to actually see Mike and to meet up with Mike. And I do have a feeling that she's just thinking, will this be my American dream, rather than I really love Mike and I think we can make it work. And because I don't want to repeat myself so much, I do ask anyone that hasn't seen it, do go back and watch that video that I made before, because there's a lot wrong with this relationship. And so I don't know why you would continue when there are so many things which are seemingly not just red flags, but absolute deal breakers. And then Natalie said, "I've started a new life. Everything is new." It's not, Natalie. It's your same old relationship. Same old you, same old Mike. I really don't know what you expect to change. And then also there's Natalie's assertion that she only had 20 days to get here. And some of you might say, well, what's the big deal? If she was going to come, she was going to come. Or if she wasn't, she wasn't. Not necessarily, because I've got a feeling that Natalie wanted to put the pressure on Mike and to say, I've only got 20 days, so she could quickly get over here before Mike had time to really think about the fact of, this girl's just thrown my ring back at me. This girl's been as rude as all hell. Natalie knows very well, as my old boss used to tell me, time kills all deals. And we all know this. When you're signing for a new service or to buy something, there's a 20% discount, ma'am, if you sign right here and right now. Why is that? Why can't I go home and think about it? Oh, that's it, because you don't want logic to set in. You don't want to give me time to consider the rationale behind the move, because if you do, the move will be off. And that's what I think Natalie was doing. In this scenario, Natalie was little more than a used car salesman. I think Natalie knows good and well her relationship with Mike is dead in the water, but she figures, well, I've put all this time in so far, so it kind of makes sense for me to go over to America, see if I can make it work, and if I can't, see if I can long it out until I get my green card, and then see who else I can see in America. And in fact, I think a sizable portion of my male subscribers might actually take Natalie on, so maybe it's not a ridiculous idea. But next I want to get to Mike. Oh, Mike. Today he caved in and threw Uncle Beau out, and I think that it was a really, really bad move. Uncle Beau seems as if he might have had a somewhat difficult life, and you're just making it more difficult, Mike. Very, very bad form. Natalie, like it or lump it. But then I started thinking, was throwing out Uncle Beau all it seemed? Because Mike definitely told Beau, don't worry, it's temporary. In a couple of weeks, you'll be back. Now we know that that couldn't possibly be true if Mike was planning for Natalie to still be there. It's not the fact she doesn't know Uncle Beau. She's spoken to him on FaceTime before. She doesn't like Uncle Beau. She doesn't want Uncle Beau around. So on what planet would Beau be back in a few weeks? In the planet where Mike's already planning to get rid of Natalie. So do we think there's a possibility that Mike thinks, let's just give this a go. If nothing else, I'll have the other 10 or 15 grand I need to pay my debts off with the money I make from TLC. It's just possible. That way, he knew he just had to tell Uncle Beau, get out for a few weeks while this is being filmed. And he also knows that he's a fan favourite and that fans don't really like Natalie that much. And so if he was to give her the heave-ho at the end of 90 days, he would come out of things looking blameless. Mike has to ignore an awful lot with Natalie. As soon as he gave her a gift, the flowers, she was like, I don't like purple flowers. Even if she had mentioned to Mike before that she doesn't like purple, or she loves red, or she loves pink, it's not the kind of information that the average man is going to commit to memory. So if he's forgotten, that's just it. He's forgotten. But Natalie will make the smallest transgression a matter for weapons mobilisation. She really does put 20 on 10. So maybe that's the reason that Natalie goes home. Maybe Mike never had any intention of keeping her in America. Maybe he just wanted to pay his debts. Guys, let me know below, what do you think to this theory? What I'm going to try and do for you guys is come up with a theory every week based on what we see, to try and guess what went down with Natalie's apocalyptic departure. And why the relationship broke down. We pretty much know from what we've seen it was a decision on Mike's part. So yeah, I'd love for you guys to weigh in and let me know what you think. Do you think it's suspicious that Mike said to Beau, yeah, you'll be back in a couple of weeks? How? Very, very strange. I'll be back very soon with another video. Thank you so much for listening, guys. Also, don't forget to press that red subscribe button. You've been listening to Ebird Online. That's about enough from me. I bid you good day.